everybody, this is XB Walker back for 2025 training on how to use artillery. Not much has changed since my last one, but I've had a number of people ask me in game to make a new one, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to make us a new one. This time I'm going to include how to get from the artillery area, from the camp, over to the actual artillery. So if you're very new to the game, just hit T. You'll notice my compass pops up. If I look around, I will locate the range. It has a crossed artillery icon with a target underneath, and I'm going to head there and we'll resume when I get there. Okay, as you can see, I have now made it to the artillery range, and I've got a number of cannons that I can choose from. Cannon number one is, well, there's two of them actually, is going to be our 12-pound cannon. Think of this like a smoothbore musket, but much bigger and just about far more accurate than a regular musket would be. However, 12-pounders are not as accurate as the other cannons. These ones particularly are very good when it comes to firing canister rounds or firing short range anything else. They're very devastating as well. Their rounds are very large. We today are going to go by the 3-pound ordnance cannon, but first, this is a 10-pound Parrot gun. This one is a rifled cannon. It's extremely accurate. You can tell it's a Parrot because it has the bell on the back of the gun there. You see how it's kind of larger on the back end? This is a Parrot. It is extremely good, and I'm pretty fond of it for long-range fire. However, because the 3-pound ordnance is one of the most common pieces from the Civil War, we're going to train on that one today. That is this little guy here, 3-pound ordnance gun. The way you can tell what gun it is usually, no matter what map you're on, there's going to be a caisson behind it indicating what it is. A 3-inch ordnance, excuse me. 3-inch ordnance. I'm sure I'll edit that after the fact. Now, if I open up the limber here, I have a choice of shell, case, or canister. I'm going to explain those shortly. First, we've got to prep our gun. So if you've never used artillery before, your first step is to make sure you have your sponge equipped. That's this guy right up here. You can hold Alt to look around, by the way, if you don't want to turn. And the other thing you're going to have, if you hit number 2 on your keyboard, is your sword. If I hit V for melee mode, there's my sword, and I can use it in a pinch. But as an artilleryman, hopefully you won't be in a situation where you're going to need that hardly ever. Okay, so with my sponge out, I stand here on the right side of the cannon. I turn my body until I see sponge barrel. Then I hit the F key. All right, beautiful. It's nice and clean now, ready to eat out of. We're going to go get us a round and send it down range. So let's start with a shell. Now there are 3 types of ammo: are shell, case, canister. Shell is essentially a grenade, just in the sense that if you set the timer on it and launch it, it's not going to go off until that timer expires, and I'll explain that in a moment. Next is case, which is similar. It also has a timer on it. Difference is it explodes downwards, so you want to shoot this above their head. And last is canister, which is more or less just like a giant bird shot that will kill people. It just fires a whole bunch of little rounds out of the barrel and is really good for very close range fire if you're getting charged. Okay, so we're going to grab shell. Okay. Take our little 3-inch ordnance shell over here to the cannon. You need to sponge it first. If you don't, you will be screwed because you cannot put ordnance back in the caisson on the training server. You can, however, on a live server where there is not infinite ammo. Okay, so just like I did with the sponge, I'm just turning my body, and there we are. Insert round. I hit F. In it goes. Yep. Now I go back to this position, and we're going to ram that down in there, which technically means I could fire the piece right away, but I'm not going to. We're going to aim it. Now, this is what the real tutorial is about. This is how to aim a cannon just with your eyeball and not with a whole bunch of math. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So first thing you're going to want to do is what I just did without explaining, which is moving the trail spike. You hit F, and it's kind of hard to see sometimes. Sometimes you got to kind of walk around until it pops up. It can be a little bit annoying, but just like everything else, you're going to hit F on it, picks up the trail spike, and then A and D moves your cannon either direction. If you hold shift while doing it, it moves your cannon much, much faster. So we're going to try to put one of those targets right in sight. A couple ways to eyeball it in is we can crouch down and just see, which is a little hard to do, where the target is going to be. It's much easier though to go on the elevation screw, which again is done with F by looking at the screw. Now, it's hard to tell in the video, but this cannon is not perfectly round. It is a 3D model, and so it has hard edges. So at the very top of the model, you can see where the two flat edges come together into a very slight V. And you can see that if I raise the cannon using W and S, so S is down, W is up, and of course shift makes it go faster. So if I raise the cannon, my sight is a little to the right of the target. That is no good. We're going to miss for sure. So we go back to the trail spike. There it is. We're going to just inch it over a little bit. Now, I don't know if you could see that in the video, but I did move it over just a wee bit. Going to go back on here. Make sure you're moving your mouse around until you've got that sight right in the middle of the cannon. And you could tell that, yeah, I'm pretty much on target from here. Now, the way to completely eyeball your shot to make sure you're hitting where you want to, anything under about 300 yards, you could pretty much just put this little sight. So you see the sight at the end of the cannon? Lower your head right about to here, and you could put that sight right on the target. And there it is. And you've got to make sure the sight is barely visible above the cannon. If your sight is like this, you're looking wrong. If your sight is invisible, you're also looking wrong. The sight has to be barely visible. That is roughly where the cannon's going to hit. It does arc, so you want to aim just a hair higher. I don't know if you can see that. Now that we've done this, we're going to look on the bottom right, and we're going to see what range our round is going to explode at. Currently, it's set for 2.36 seconds, 2.03 seconds on the fuse, which means after just about 2 seconds, the shell round is going to explode. We're going to lower that because that target is only about 200 yards out, but we do want to make sure we penetrate the target before it blows up. So we're going to go to, let's just say, I don't know, about 260. That should be more than enough. So 260, which is 0.82 seconds on the fuse before it explodes. And we're roughly sighted in. So we should at least get the target on the screen. You'll notice I did not give you an elevation. I did not tell you about arc very much. We're really just eyeballing the cannon. And when you're in a pub round and you're just playing regular folks, you don't really need to do the numbers. You just need to get the thing sighted in and fire, because from there you can adjust it, which is exactly what we're going to do. So I hit F when I look at the prime. Let me redo that. So I'm looking at prime cannon. That's this hole right at the top. I hit F. Now I've got the cord. I'm going to step to the side of the wheel, because if I'm behind it, this thing's going to run me over when I fire. Now looking at the target, here I go. I'm going to hit the left mouse button to fire. Ooh, boy, I was not to the side enough. So that's a perfect example of make sure you stand to the side of the wheel. Now I did get the target on the screen. Looks like I aimed a wee bit too high. So we're gonna come back and try this again. Remember, that first shot is just to help you sight it in. Now the next shot should be a lot more accurate. So we're gonna fast forward the video. Alright, let's try this again. I've actually elevated it a little bit more. I think I might have been too low on the last one. Let's see if this makes a difference. Yeah, there we go. Alright, we are back. This time we have Iltron here to actually show us a long distance shot, and I'm going to be able to show you an arc. Unfortunately, I tried to load the cannon just to realize that I forgot to sponge it first. And like I said in the earlier part of the tutorial, if you forget to sponge it first, you are totally screwed on the drill camp. So thankfully it is sponged now. It's actually ready to fire. I've angled it roughly towards the targets, and now I can actually zoom in and show you via spectator what it looks like. So Iltron, when you are ready, go ahead and fire, and let's see how close we get to the targets. Oh, I aimed it at that target. Nice. Okay. So 324 yards. It went a little bit high. So Iltron is going to roll this sucker back up. Slowly but surely, because unfortunately I am not able to assist him as I am in spectator mode. One quick interjection for everyone to note, I forgot to mention in this tutorial how to change the time length on your fuse. It's very simple. You just use page up and page down on your keyboard. If you do not have a page up and page down, you're going to need to change your keybinds by going to options and then keybinds. Again, page up and down, change the time of your fuse, and also if you hold shift while doing that, they are going to go up and down faster. Apologies for that, I completely forgot to record that section, but it's pretty self-explanatory and pretty simple. Alright, so he's going to fire, and it should land behind the target and then blow up. We're going to watch the target and see. So whenever you're ready, Iltron, go ahead and send it. Boom, blew up there in the field. It does not blow up from landing, it blows up from hitting its time limit. Okay, so this next shot that Iltron's going to fire is a case round. These fire downward. The animation for them firing downward doesn't kick off very often, so it might not show, but we're still going to give it a look and see what happens. This should blow up above the target and behind it if we did it right. Alright, go ahead and fire when ready. Oh, it blew up before, but you could see the round exploding outward as it blew. What was your fuse on that set to?
I think it was around a second.
Okay, so probably want to add 0.2 seconds to that. But that is basically how it works, folks. You set your timer so that it blows up near or on the enemy, and you sight it in manually, and you'll eventually become an amazing shot with artillery. If you guys have any more questions, you are welcome to ask me on YouTube or add me on Steam or elsewhere. My name is XB Walker virtually everywhere that I play. So that is it. Thank you so much.